Welcome back to the Explainer. So, have you ever felt, I don't know, kind of lied to about the whole magic of compound interest? Seriously, every financial guru out there promises the exact same thing. Just invest your money today, and exponential growth is going to eventually make you rich. But then you actually start investing. You put your cash away month after month, and for the first few years, you just don't see it. The truth is, compound interest has a mathematical critical mass. It's this hidden threshold that almost nobody talks about, and until you actually hit it, you're going to feel like you're getting absolutely nowhere.
Okay, let's dive right into this because you're probably asking yourself where this so-called magic actually is. I know exactly how frustrating this feels. You start your investment journey, you diligently lock your money away for 2, 3, maybe 5 years, and when you finally check your account, you realize something pretty depressing. Over 90% of the money sitting in that account, it's literally just the raw cash you put in yourself with your own sweat and hard work. Where's the money making money while you sleep?
We are constantly sold this empty promise of instant exponential growth. The charts they show you in textbooks or on those viral videos always shoot straight up to the moon right from day one. But the frustrating reality of early investing is vastly different. Actually, scratch that, it's a completely different universe. There is a strict minimum mass required here. It's a definitive point below which the effect of compound interest is, for all practical purposes, entirely invisible. Let's look at exactly why this happens, why the math seems to hide from you at the start, and more importantly, how we can push past it.
Section 1, the compound myth. Let's jump right in and look at a real-world example to see how this works.
To truly understand the mechanics behind this invisible phase, we need to look at a perfect test case. Let's talk about our proxy investor, Lisa. Lisa is right on the edge of just throwing in the towel on her financial journey. Here's her profile. She's 32 years old, she pulls in a respectable $50,000 a year, and she consistently invests $500 a month into an index fund. I mean, she is incredibly disciplined. She doesn't touch the money, never misses a monthly contribution, and follows literally every single rule in the personal finance textbooks. Yet despite doing absolutely everything right, she's trapped in what we call the construction phase, deeply frustrated by how agonizingly slow her portfolio is growing. So let's break down the math.
Let's think about the stark reality of her very first year. Lisa faithfully invests her $500 a month, meaning by the end of year one, she has put in $6,000 of her own hard-earned money. Now, if the market performs well and gives her an 8% return, she gains, drumroll please, just $260. Think about that for a second. She sacrificed for 12 solid months, skipped going out with friends, didn't buy those new shoes, and the market rewarded her with $260. Depending on where you live, that barely covers a nice dinner out and half a tank of gas. No wonder she's questioning the whole process.
Moving on to Section 2, the Valley of Invisibility. Let's see how this builds over time.
We are going to fast forward a bit to year 5, because this right here is the absolute most dangerous phase for anyone starting their early investment journey. Lisa has been a rock. She's contributed $30,000 in total over half a decade. Her portfolio is now worth around $36,700. At first glance, hey, a $6,700 gain seems pretty decent, right? But notice the underlying breakdown here. A massive 82% of her total portfolio is just her own saved cash. The market growth makes up a mere 18%. Investing right now feels exactly like pushing a heavy truck uphill all by yourself. You are doing all the labor, and the market is barely helping you out.
And this puts Lisa squarely in the danger zone. This is the exact moment where the vast majority of people just abandon their strategy entirely. They look at the math and think, wait, I worked this hard for 5 long years just to make $6,000? I might as well cash out, take a vacation, and actually enjoy my life. What they don't realize is that taking those small gains now means they are walking away mere inches from the finish line. By quitting here, they forfeit the massive, effortless gains that were literally just over the horizon. They're shutting down the engine right before it's about to turn on. Which brings us to Section 3, the long-awaited crossover point, where the math finally takes the wheel.
See, there is an exact mathematical moment where your personal, physical effort steps back. So the crucial concept here is understanding this definition. The crossover point is the exact mathematical moment your portfolio's annual returns naturally exceed your yearly personal contributions. For Lisa, she contributes $6,000 a year from her salary. Her crossover point hits when her portfolio gets large enough to organically generate more than $6,000 in interest over a 12-month period. Once she crosses this invisible line, the market is officially contributing more to her wealth than she is. The engine is finally running on its own.
The late great Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's legendary business partner, famously said the first $100,000 is a nightmare. And honestly, he meant it literally. Getting to this initial mass requires you to practically live like a financial monk. You have to save relentlessly, deny yourself luxuries, ignore the constant temptation to spend, and live well below your means. But hitting this critical mass is an absolute mathematical necessity. It is the only way to activate the engine and cross that threshold where compound interest becomes a tangible, life-changing force.
But watch what happens once you push through that initial nightmare. Going from $0 to $100,000 takes Lisa about 12 long, grueling years. But look at what happens next. Growing from $100,000 to $200,000 takes only 6 years. And the leap from $200,000 to $300,000, just 4 years. The time literally compresses right before your eyes. You aren't working any harder, and you aren't saving any more than you were before. The money is doing the hard labor now, working way faster and harder than Lisa ever could on her own.
Before we pop the champagne, though, we need to talk about Section 4, the $8,000 mistake.
Because right before this exponential growth takes off, people tend to make one fatal error. Let's say in year 7, Lisa is exhausted and decides she really wants to remodel her bathroom. She thinks, well, I'll just pull $8,000 out of my investments. It's just a fraction of what I have. No big deal. But consider the staggering opportunity cost here. Because she's pulling that money out before the crossover point, those $8,000 today are actually robbing her of $37,000 in her retirement, assuming an 8% return over 20 years. Taking money out during the invisible phase acts exactly like pouring ice water on a campfire that was just starting to crackle. You don't just lose the water, you kill all the momentum and have to build the spark all over again.
And this leads us directly to the 80-20 rule of time. Did you know that 95% of Warren Buffett's immense wealth was accumulated after his 65th birthday? Seriously, that isn't because he suddenly became a genius in his senior years. It is simply the sheer unstoppable force of exponential math. For the first 20 years of a 30-year investing timeline, your growth is linear and, let's be honest, pretty boring. You are doing all the heavy lifting. But in those last 10 years, you see an absolute explosion of wealth. Compound interest disproportionately rewards those who have the relentless patience to simply not interrupt the math.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 5, accelerating your path to success. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it proves you are not just at the mercy of time. There are 3 definitive actions you can take right now to hack this system. First, increase your early contributions. Adding an extra $100 a month when you only have 10 grand has a massive proportional impact compared to adding it later. Second, whatever you do, do not stop investing during market dips. When the market drops 20%, human instinct screams at you to sell. But that is essentially a massive discount sale on future capital. It's the absolute best time to buy. And third, minimize early withdrawals. Protect that growing snowball at all costs, especially in that first decade.
Let's see these tactics in action for Lisa. What if she made some serious lifestyle changes? Maybe she moves to a cheaper apartment, cuts back on subscriptions, and manages to aggressively increase her savings from $500 to $1,200 a month. She wouldn't just shave a little time off her journey. She would slash the time needed to reach that first $100,000 from a grueling 12 years down to an incredible 5.5 years. That is more than 6 years of her life and effort completely returned to her, just by accelerating those early contributions.
The core thesis of everything we've looked at in this explainer is simply this. You must aggressively feed the beast early on. You are the engine at the very beginning. You have to shovel the coal into the furnace with your own 2 hands day after day until the mathematical momentum finally takes over. It requires immense patience for sure. But once that crossover point is reached, time transforms. It goes from being something you have to trade for money into this beautiful, boundless gift that your money freely gives back to you. So, I want to leave you with a challenge as we wrap up today. What is your true freedom number? At what exact portfolio balance will your market returns finally equal the hard-earned cash you put in every year? I challenge you to calculate your own crossover point today, because once you know that exact number, you'll have the clear, definitive target you need to push through your own valley of invisibility. Remember, the physics of money are always on your side. They just need enough mass to get moving. Keep pushing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.